This is Taryn speaking. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today from wherever you are in the world. On behalf of Kilachand Honors College at Boston University, I'm very happy to welcome you to our conversation today. We're delighted to have you with us and really excited to start to get to know you as the incoming KHC class of 2028. My name is Taryn Craig, and I'm the Assistant Director for Student Services at Kilachand. And I just have a couple notes before we introduce everyone on our panel today. This Zoom meeting is being recorded so that we can share it with those who can't join us live. The conversation is also ASL interpreted, and to facilitate that, you'll notice that our speakers today state their name in advance of speaking to support interpretation. We have about 1 hour, so our plan is to introduce ourselves and then ask a series of questions to our current students, learn their wisdom, and then if time allows, open it up to your questions. If questions come to you while we're speaking, feel free to type them into the chat feature or into the Q&A. Both are open, and we'll try to incorporate them live or to type out answers for you. So let's get started. As I said, I'm Taryn Craig. I use she, her pronouns. I've been working at Kilachand since 2015 in academic advising, admissions, and student services roles. I've lived in the Boston area for the better part of the last 18 years or so. And one thing I appreciate about working at Kilachand is the smaller community that it provides within such a large urban university, and the really dynamic way that it's evolved over the years. So I'll pass it to my colleague, Dominique.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dominique Flagg, one of the KHC academic advisors, also from the Living Learning community, and I support the RAs here. And for the incoming students, I look forward to meeting you in the fall. If you have any ideas for events, please let me know. And right now, I'll pass it off to my colleague, Sharonda.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Shauna Matthews speaking. I am one of the other KHC advisors here, and I started in this position at KHC last fall, actually. My pronouns are she, her, and I am one of the managers of the Kilachand ambassadors, many of whom, if you came to the open house events, were current students who you got a chance to talk with, who were in blue sweatshirts or blue polo shirts. And so after the first semester, if you're interested in becoming a Kilachand ambassador, you can email me, and also we will have a link online for you to apply to be an ambassador. One thing that I enjoy in terms of working at Kilachand is the ability to be there for my advisees, as well as have my advisees come back to my office to tell me any good news that they have throughout the day. Many of them stop by sometimes every other week to tell me what good news they have. Some of them stop by every other month. So that's something I really enjoy, is seeing how the connections I've made with my advisees, how that has helped them throughout their time at Boston University. So now I'm going to pass it to one of our current students, Perna.
Hi everyone, my name is Prerna. I'm a neuroscience major in the College of Arts and Sciences, also pursuing a minor in public health. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a rising junior, and my hometown is Clinton, New Jersey. This summer, I'm working as a medical assistant and also as an EMT back home in New Jersey. But I'm looking forward to coming back in the fall and taking courses at Kilachand again. And then I'm gonna pass it to Sydney.
Hey everyone, my name is Sydney Aslin. I'm a rising junior majoring in political science in the College of Arts and Sciences, with minors in public relations in the College of Communication, as well as environmental analysis and policy, also in the College of Arts and Sciences. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee. And this summer I'm working in Washington, D.C. at a national security think tank. But I'm super excited to get back in the fall and see everybody again. I'm going to pass it over to Kylie.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to meet you. My name is Kylie Simon. I'm a rising sophomore at Boston University studying political science. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm from the Bronx, New York. So currently this summer, I'm working as an administrative assistant for a anti-gun violence prevention nonprofit. So it's been very educational and I love it so far. This is my second year doing it. And yeah.
I think that just leaves me, so I'll jump in. My name is Liam Fitzpatrick. I am a rising senior, which is so scary to say. Also in the College of Arts and Sciences, studying an independent major in sustainable community development and political science with a minor in public policy analysis. My pronouns are he, him, and right now I'm actually not in Boston like almost everybody else. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, working for a major Big Four bank in their corporate social responsibility department, specifically in our upward mobility sector. So that involves everything like entrepreneurship, finding jobs that pay a livable wage, and all the strategy components that go into our foundation and grant disbursement. On campus, I'm a member of the BU Rugby Club team. I also write for the Boston Political Review and for the Emerald Earth Environmental Science Review. So if any of you have questions about club sports or about student journalism, I'm happy to answer.
Karen speaking. Thank you so much, everyone. It was really fun to learn about what you're involved with this summer. So we'll transition to our questions. Our first topic is simply the transition to college. This is the start of a new chapter for you. It's filled with excitement, probably some nerves as well. And we'd love to hear from our current students. What are some of the aspects of college life that make it very different from high school? Maybe some of those are obvious, maybe some less so, maybe some are very personal to your own experience. But how did you adapt to this transition? We'd love to hear about both the exciting parts and the challenging parts and your related advice. So I invite any current student to jump in first.
I can hop in. One thing that I found that was really interesting is so I'm from Tennessee, so it's very warm, and Boston is not as warm in the winters. So the climate was definitely something to get used to at first. But if you're like me and you're also from a warmer area, I would highly recommend like layering. It's really helpful to have light t-shirts or long sleeve t-shirts that I could wear under sweaters. That was one thing that took me a minute to learn. Another thing that I realized is that there's just a lot of free time that you have. And or at least for me, like in high school, I felt like I was very regimented, like I had to be here and then here and then here. In college, there's a lot more free time to really choose where you want to be and what you want to be doing. And so really just one thing that helped me was really just kind of thinking through what was really important to me and where did I really want to be spending my time, and making sure that everything that I did really aligned with my interests was a good way to start.
I can add on to that. This is Kylie speaking. As someone who was in your position literally like a year ago, I would say again, the biggest change for me was definitely making your own schedule, just the independence of it all. I didn't know what to do with, like Sydney said, all of that free time. You know, it's very different. Some people prefer to have a very early schedule. So they'll take that 8 a.m. class and just push through it. Others are like, nope, I prefer my sleep. I'm going to take that nice 12:30 and keep it pushing till like 5 p.m. and that's what I like. So that's kind of was hard for me to figure out really what was my taste, because in high school you're just kind of given your schedule. But I would say the best way I figured it out was pretty much through trial and error. Between first and second semester, I would mix up my schedule. Some classes would be very early, and others I would take that 12 p.m. class. And I noticed that I'm more of a start at 9:30 a.m. type of person, or 10:30 a.m. So it's really all about going outside of your comfort zone and trying new things.
Karen speaking. Any other comments from our students? If not, we can move on to the next question. I'll pass it to my colleague, Sharonda.
This is Dr. Matthews speaking. So our next topic that we would like our current students to talk about is tips for living in Kilachand Hall and how to make connections with your roommates. So one of the things the question we want to ask is, what advice do you have to students for getting to know their roommates, learning to share a space together, as well as any tips to getting to know the rest of their peers across the floor or in the other floors in Kilachand Hall?
So I can take this one. This is Prerna speaking. My roommate's actually on this call. Me and Sydney are roommates. We have been since freshman year, and we're planning to be roommates in like till senior year. So we match randomly. So we match with like the BU system. We didn't know each other before that result came out. It was really easy getting to know each other. I think we have some like really similar interests, and we like doing the same things. But something that I would encourage when you're trying to get to know your roommate or people on your floor, or even people living in Kilachand, is, do things together, like explore Boston, maybe walk around campus. I think something that me and Sydney did is we tried to find where our classes were in freshman year before classes started, as we walked around campus trying to figure out where our first classes would be of the day. And it's just like, I feel like talking to people and really getting to know them, what their interests are, is a great way to know them, especially when you're coming into college completely new and not knowing a lot of people. So basically, any form of communication really works great.
I can speak to this as well. So all of you are first year students arriving. I'm one of the RAs for first year students. So there's about a 1 in 4, 1 in 5 chance that you end up with me as your RA. And what I would like to say now that I have you all hostage is please, please, please rely on your RAs. We're here for you to help you build connection, to help you if you're struggling with maybe finding some friends, with understanding just the basics of living together. I understand roommates can be tough. I lived in a room that had 5 people in it and 1 bathroom, which, as you can imagine, led to its fair share of little squabbles. But one thing I would highly recommend is, in addition to talking to your RA, BU is a great opportunity for all these different events. You'll get newsletter after newsletter. RAs will come to you with events. Within your college, you'll get events. Those are great places to meet people, just say hello, and then you'll start to realize, oh, I saw you at this event, and then I saw you at this event, and then I saw you at this event. And that's how I've made some of my best friends at BU, is just through chance encounters at a speaker that I thought was interesting, and then a book signing with an author I had read recently. And now those people are some of my best friends. So definitely put yourself out there, even if it's not the traditional walking from door to door, finding those opportunities to, events with your RA, events through Kilachand are great ways to meet new people.
This is Dr. Matthews speaking. Are there any other comments from our current students?
I could say something else. My number one advice is just to say hello. Don't be afraid. The way to think about it is that everybody is nervous. So knowing that, that they're just as nervous as you are. So I was also in a room with 5 girls. So I just knocked on my suite mate's door. I was like, hey girl, I'm Kylie, nice to meet you. And something special that we did is that we would leave little sticky notes on the door before we left. And it would just be like, it would just say like, have a good day, or you look so good today, or you're rocking it. And it's like that really nice way of easing into comfortability with each other, because you're going to be together for hopefully like the rest of the year. So get past that awkward zone and just kind of get to know each other. Another thing I recommend is asking for each other's schedule, because the bathroom situation is real. So if you know that your roommate has like a 9 a.m., don't wake up at 9, because you know that like they're going to be in the shower and using the bath. It's just going to be like a whole thing. So, figure out their scheduling so you could work around and accommodate. So that's what I would say.
This is Dr. Matthews speaking. Thank you so much for those tips. I'm now going to pass it to my colleague, Dominique.
So I'll be asking the next question. So within the campus space, you'll be on East Campus at BU, which, as we know, BU campus is huge. So what is your advice for getting familiar with BU campus as a whole and for 91 Bay State Street?
Yeah, I can jump on this one. One thing that I actually really like about BU's campus is that it's all up and down Commonwealth Avenue for the most part. So it's really easy to walk back and forth and just kind of get acquainted. And like Fernanda mentioned a minute ago, we really did that like the kind of week before school classes started, a couple days before classes started, just walk around and look at all the different buildings and see, oh, I have a class here. This is exactly where my room's going to be. And that really kind of helped us get a layout. I would also say like Google Maps. I used Google Maps like the first couple weeks of school just to make sure I double checked that I knew exactly where I was going. And then after that, you kind of get the feel for it. Another great thing that BU has is the BU bus. It runs up and down Commonwealth Avenue all throughout the day and can take you, it's only for BU students and can take you wherever you need to go. So one thing that we recently tried to do actually when we've had some free time is just hop on the bus and ride it around and see all where it goes. That's something that Perna and I did a bit this last semester, and I actually wish I'd done as a freshman because it was really helpful. It was really nice to see not only how the bus stops, where the bus stops are and how the BU bus works, but also really know like how all the different parts of campus are connected to each other. Even different parts like the Fenway campus or the med school campus, which are a bit farther away.
I can speak on this as well. In terms of exploring campus, BU's campus is a street, so it might seem smaller than you think it is initially, but there are a lot of really cool spots that you kind of have to get to know campus first before you find out. I know some people's favorite study spots include the Yawkey Center, which is right above one of our dining halls called Marciano. And there's like a sixth floor building and there's really nice views. The sixth floor actually overlooks Kilachand, which is really nice. And there are really great study spots around campus like that. We have a new building called the Center for Data Sciences, and that's a really, really tall building that a lot of people like to study in as well. So, getting to explore campus and find those spaces where you feel the most at home is really important. I know for me, I like to make my dorm a place where I'm not doing work and kind of figure out other places where I can do homework or schoolwork. So I'm not, making my dorm a place for studying as well as sleeping. So it's kind of a good way to find a balance between, doing your work and kind of relaxing and hanging out with friends.
I can add to this as well. My name is Liam. One of the great things about the location that you guys are in is you're, as we mentioned, in what's called East Campus. Generally, East Campus and especially Bay State Road is one of the quieter places on campus. If you imagine the way BU's campus is structured, I'm sure you've all heard of Commonwealth Avenue. In between Commonwealth Avenue and the Charles River, the Esplanade, is this little street called Bay State Road. It's beautiful. You all live there. There are a ton of different brownstones. It's a great environment. It's one of my favorite spots on campus just in the fall, in the spring. It's nice, it's relaxed. I found that to be very helpful, just knowing that, okay, I'm in the hustle and bustle of the city of Boston, whether I'm going to classes at the end of campus or right in the middle, but I can return back to East Campus and feel a little bit of serenity in a big city like Boston.
This is Kylie. I just wanted to add that you might hear this little rumor going around that says West is best. I just want to tell you it's false. It's false news. Like East is so good, especially Bay State Road. Like it's when you guys come in, it's gonna be so beautiful. Like the trees and just the street alone with the architecture. Honestly, 10 out of 10. I would definitely recommend. You're so lucky. And but regardless, still explore the West. You're probably gonna have to trek there at some point. So get on your walking shoes. Yeah, and I would just say just explore, explore, explore. Don't be dormant. Don't be in your dorm all the time, you know? You gotta go outside, be with your friends, study someplace. If it's hot outside, go to the BU beach and, sit on the lawn and read a book or something. Like it's really a lot of opportunities and things to do on campus. So that's what I would say.
Great. I'll pass it on for the next question.
Dr. Matthews speaking. So the next topic we have touched upon, you guys have touched upon a little bit, but it's about making friends and finding belonging on campus. And so what tips do you have, or additional tips that you haven't said yet, about how to get to know new people, making friends, as well as how has college relationships actually help you develop your own personal identity?
I can speak on this. So my experience at least is that when I came into BU, a lot of my friends initially were from Kilachand, so Sydney, my roommate, and then people that I had met at like Kilachand events and welcome events. And then as I started taking classes, I'm a neuroscience major, so a lot of my friends were in the same classes as me. So I had a lot of friends in neuroscience and other classes I was taking, like chemistry and biology. So like for my first semester, a lot of my friends were mainly kind of in the academic realm. And then as I started to join clubs, I'm big into a cappella, so I'm on an a cappella group on campus. It's called Suno, which is BU South Asian Fusion a cappella group. A lot of my friends have been from Suno over the semesters that I've been at BU, and spending a lot of time with people in a club like Suno or other clubs on campus, you really develop strong bonds with them. So I would say a great way to make friends and continue to explore campus more is joining clubs and organizations in the things that interests you a lot. I feel like that's a great way to find people who share the same interests as you.
Yeah, I would definitely echo what Perna said about the clubs. You all may have heard that first couple weeks of school, we have this big thing called Splash, which is where all of the student clubs on campus get out to the soccer field, and it's just a great time to walk around and see everything in clubs world that BU has to offer. That's how I joined a lot of the clubs I'm in, and that's also how I've made a lot of my friends. I'll also drop a quick plug. Me, Kylie, and Prerna are all in K-Lab, which is Kilachand's student government, basically. We call it Kilachand Leadership Advisory Board, is what KLab stands for. And so throughout the semester, we'll host a lot of events for Kilachand students where you can meet other people and just hang out, as well as if you choose to join KLab, it's a really great time. A lot of my friends are on KLab as well. So you should definitely look out for our events like during Welcome Week and the first bit of school.
Dr. Matthews speaking. Are there any other tips or comments from any other current students? All right, then. So we're going to move on to the next topic. I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Dominique.
Great. So college coursework can be demanding and requires excellent time management skills and active use of resources such as your professors, office hours, advisors, tutoring. How do you make the most of academic experience at BU? In what ways does Kilachand enhance or complement your academic journey?
I can speak on that. So I'm a senior, which means I've gone through 3/4 of Kilachand's curriculum. So just to dispel a little bit of the mystery around it, I'll speak to what you can expect when you come into Kilachand. In your first year, you will be taking what's called a studio and a seminar. These are great interdisciplinary opportunities for you to take classes that are outside your major field, build your writing skills, complete some great final projects. These are the classes that honestly have given me some great friendships, some more clarity on what I'm interested in researching. So the first year is amazing. Then you move into what we call the 300 and 400 levels. So they're one of the things that I've noticed, at least with Kilachand compared to a lot of other majors, is Kilachand offers you a lot of choice. So you have the option whether you want to take maybe a Kilachand 301 seminar about climate change, a Kilachand 302 seminar about forced displacement. You have a lot of options. And then even within our research methods course, which is titled 401, there are multiple different topics with multiple different interdisciplinary professors. In general, I would say that Kilachand has given me a pretty solid interdisciplinary background to supplement the more in-depth work of the major requirement that I'm doing. I have what's called an independent major, which is where students are allowed to design their own curriculum and their own set of study. And as long as it's approved by two department heads, two heads of faculty, it's what shows up on your major, on your diploma. So for me, that's called sustainable community development. It's a big mixture of environmental science, economics, political science, sociology, a whole bunch of other things in there. But one of the great things about BU is that you can really tailor your academic experience to what's most interesting to you. I think, I mean, I don't necessarily have the statistics, but thinking back to all the students that were on my floor last year, I think even as an RA, somebody who's very familiar with like the different courses that are available and the different majors, fields of study, there were students on my floor who had majors, minors, certificates, things I had never even heard of. So there's a ton of different options. I would suggest before you get here, take a good look at some of the different majors, courses of options, and know that it will change. I started out in the College of Arts and Sciences, switched to our College of Communications, spent a little bit of time in our Western School of Business, and then returned to our College of Arts and Sciences. Your path is allowed to be winding, and that's okay.
This is Kylie. I could also talk about that a little bit. Somebody earlier asked a question about our favorite seminar, so they took it off, but I'll answer it anyway. My favorite seminar was Live City. For like last year, my freshman year, it was really cool. We learned about how cities operate, and we like looked at specifically Boston as an example of that. So a lot of times we will be outside of the classroom in Boston. We went to the North End, which is a like specific town of Boston, and we just like learn about the unique history of it. So I thought that was really cool, and it has nothing to do with my major really. Like I'm a political science major, but I just thought that it would be something to kind of expand my understanding of Boston because I've never been to Boston before. So if you want a class that kind of can teach you about it and give you a firsthand experience about learning Boston, that could be helpful. Also somebody asked, like, does it have to do with your major? I mean, honestly, it's up to you. But I think that the unique thing about Kilachand that kids who aren't in the honors college is that we get to explore. We get to have the option to take things that aren't in our major, like, and it still gives you credit, you know? So I mean, take advantage of that. Take something that you probably wouldn't take, that's something that it piques your interest or you find interesting that doesn't exactly align with your major, because you never know, where that could lead.
This is Dominique. Thank you for sharing.
Dr. Matthews speaking. So we're going to go to our final topic, and our final topic is about striving for balance. So as Kilachand Honor College students, you're considered highly motivated. You guys have many interests and goals. But as we know, it's important to find a balance among your academics, work/financial responsibilities, social life, your health, as well as wellness. And so how do you aim for balance within your daily life, as well as what tools, behaviors, or people who have helped you find this balance?
I can start on this one. This is Prerna speaking. Um, so I think my freshman year, something I struggled with was the concept of adulting while also having a social life and then also balancing classes. And I think this is something that's really common for incoming freshmen. So like in my freshman year, I really focused on my academics and making sure that all my coursework was up to date, and then also, trying to spend time with my friends as well, and then getting my laundry done on time and going to the dining hall on time, and all of that can be really hard. So I found myself having a lot of late nights my first semester, maybe, doing that chem problem set and then going straight to bed to wake up for my 8 a.m. the next day, and it wasn't the best time I've had ever. So something that I tried to do each like upcoming semester was carve out times of relaxation for myself. For example, like taking a walk outside or taking a walk on the Esplanade, going out on a weekend with my roommate to explore Boston, or finding little moments of time throughout the day where I could just decompress and not have to worry about schoolwork. And I think a large part of that was having a good time management scheme. So I relied on my Google Calendar a lot. I think this is something that's pretty common throughout BU as well, with people trying to put everything in their Google calendars to know exactly what's going on and when. And that was something that really worked for me. But I think the main thing that you have to see is look at the coursework that you're taking and how rigorous it is, and try and find places throughout your day, even just like a 15-minute block between classes, where you can kind of rest and rejuvenate yourself before moving on to the next thing.
I can also hop on this one, and especially in relation to working a student job. I work a couple student jobs, and as well as do Kilachand in my major and minors, and it's definitely something that, is a constant evaluation of, do I have enough time this week to really pick up that shift, or this week do I have a bunch of midterms and I need to kind of scale it back. But I found that with a lot of jobs on campus, employers know that we're all students as well, and that we have busy lives in academics and in clubs, and they're really flexible and helpful with that. So I found that it's been really easy to work that out, and most jobs are very much part-time, with like 10 hours a week kind of being a max. Obviously, there's some flexibility in there, but it's really easy to work less hours if that's something you like to do. I also saw that Pedro dropped a comment about wondering if KH students get priority for student jobs on campus. That's not something I've personally had experience with or heard of, but I do know that there's a lot of opportunities for students to work, and that they regularly get updated on the student link. So if you're looking for a job, there's definitely a lot of opportunities out there to get one. And you'll also hear of things throughout the semester. So I know, like, my freshman year, it took a while to apply, and I kind of kept applying, but by October, some things had hit. So if you don't get one right away, don't stress super much, because a lot of them may hit later on in the semester as well.
This is Dr. Matthews speaking. Are there any other comments from our current students?
Yeah, I'll just jump in really quickly. This is Liam. We haven't yet talked about tools. And I think one that everybody on this call hopefully is proficient at by now is Google Calendar. I promise you, even if you don't use Google Calendar right now, you will get good at Google Calendar by like November. Because at least for me, trying to balance things like schoolwork, homework, preparing my Keystone, my Kilachand Honors College thesis, trying to balance rugby and my RA responsibilities and extracurriculars, balancing all that stuff is very, very difficult. But one thing that's at least been helpful for me is literally just block out my time. Okay, from this time to this time, I'm doing nothing. Not I'm like doing homework, not I'm like on my computer doing a little research for something. No, like Sunday, I'm doing nothing. So blocking out that time and really putting forth like, okay, I've got 7 days a week. 6 of these days, I'm allowed to do work. I'm going to work hard. And then this one day, this seventh day, I'm just going to do nothing, has been super helpful for me, just as a great reset before the week starts and then at the end of the week. So something I would recommend, get good at Google Calendar, look up a YouTube video to help you figure it out if you don't know, and take one day off, completely off.
This is Dr. Matthews speaking. Thank you so much for those tips that you gave out. I'm now, Kylie, do you have any comments that you want to add? I know you've been in and out with your video feed.
Oh,
This is Dr. Matthews speaking. We can see you back now on the call, Kylie. Oh. All right then. So Kylie's connection is not working right now. That's okay. She will put any responses that she has in the chat. I'm going to now pass it along to my colleague Taryn.
Aaron speaking. Thank you so much, everyone. These were really wonderful reflections. We did, just on the topic of student jobs and employment, have a question about interest in being an RA. I don't know if any others besides Liam have served as an RA before, but do you think you could speak a little bit about what that process was in becoming one? And I know it might be something that's kind of down the line for first-year students, but maybe there's a couple sentences of wisdom you could share.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm actually in a very unique position when becoming an RA. Typically, most RAs apply in the spring of their first year, their second year, and then end up becoming an RA in the fall. I was a bit unique. Initially, I was offered a waitlist position as an RA, and then in the spring, a position opened up, so I ended up taking that. One thing I will say is that being an RA, I think, is the best job on campus. Being an RA at BU means you have free housing and free food, which is amazing. And in in all honesty, a lot of the stuff that I was interested in doing anyway, I guess what I'll say is the RA selection committee has a pretty good understanding of what it takes to become an RA. They're looking for those people who are interested in building community. They're looking for those people who are willing to make a difference, who want to go the extra mile. And one thing I had kind of realized was being an RA is builds a very big time commitment. And don't get me wrong, it is. But a lot of those things that are essential to being an RA, listening, helping people out, that kind of stuff, were things a lot of us are already doing in our free time. So one thing I'll say, you want to be an RA, meet your RA. If it's me, knock on my door. I'm happy to talk to you. If it's not me, I promise I know all of them. If you're scared to introduce yourself to them, introduce yourself to me and I will introduce you to them. And yeah, we can absolutely talk about becoming an RA in the future.
Karen speaking. Thank you so much, Liam. We do have a couple other good questions here. One is about Keystone Project progress. And if you are unaware, the Kilachand Keystone Project is a year-long senior research project that students undertake one-on-one with an advisor who is an expert in the field that they may be doing their project in. The projects can be really wide-ranging, and they don't necessarily have to be in your major field. You can be a pre-med student and do an artistic project if you like to write stories, or you can do a collaborative project with your peers. So there's lots of opportunities. I know we have students at various stages of thinking through Keystone. Is there anyone here who feels like they can speak to where their thinking is about Keystone at this time?
I definitely don't want to monopolize the conversation, but I just went through junior year, which is where you decide on your keystone and start planning your keystone. So might be a couple years ahead for all the other panelists, but I can actually speak to mine. It's very coincidental. I'm wearing this sweatshirt. It says Comfort Zone Camp on it. As part of my Keystone project, I'm working directly with this organization. Part of why I love Kilachand, why I'm so passionate about it, why I showed up here today, is because although I think a traditional research project, a traditional thesis in the field of political science or the field of sustainable community development would have been nice, it's not exactly what I'm interested in. I'm a little bit more practical. I like to be doing things that are hand-on and have a real, to me, tangible impact in the community. And just to speak to something that's very personal to me, this organization has been super influential in my life, all from being a camper to being a volunteer to now being able to support it. So what am I really doing with this organization? As part of my Keystone project, I'm able to partner with a professor in the Classroom School of Business, who's a professor of nonprofit management and social enterprise leadership. As part of that project, what I'm doing is some of the basic work that goes into volunteer recruitment and volunteer management. I'm driving around the Northeast over the course of the fall and spring semesters, getting to speak to students on college campuses and service fraternities, those kinds of things, and do the real work of recruiting for this camp that has been super influential to me. Part of the issue that I've noticed, especially in this camp, is because it's what's called a bereavement camp, which means it supports kids who have experienced some kind of traumatic personal loss, say a loss of a parent, loss of a sibling, loss of a step parent. This organization has a wide gender imbalance in terms of who wants to volunteer. Not enough men, specifically not enough young men, are taking time out of their weekends to come and volunteer and support a young boy who's struggling with feelings of grief, isolation, loneliness. Having that mentor when I was younger was super important to me. And I'm endlessly grateful to Kilachand for giving me the money and the space and the time and the resources that I need to go and talk about how much I love this organization, reflect on it in my own time, and present what will end up being, in my opinion, the same amount of work as a traditional thesis paper, just in the form of a journal of an artistic reflection on my thoughts and my experiences confronting grief from this new perspective, on a business plan and setting up a marketing plan that this company or this nonprofit organization can use in the future. So without Kilachand, I definitely would not have been able to do a project anywhere near as creative or innovative or out of the box as that. So one thing I will say is Kilachand is a great place for you to explore your passions, explore what you're interested in, explore the things that you want to do, and they really give you a lot of creative freedom. The thing is, it's up to you to act on that freedom. Nobody's going to hold your hand and tell you, you can do this, you're allowed to do this, we want you to do this, but they are going to give you the space to say, oh, you have that idea, you're interested in doing that, here's the resources you need, here's the money you need, here's the time you need, here's the support you need. Go do it, go learn for yourself, which has been super important to me. It's the reason I'm in Kilachand after all. So, yeah.
Aaron speaking. Thank you so much for sharing some of that process. It's really exciting for everyone in the Kilachand community to learn from these Keystone projects and year after year, just see the breadth of the projects from students. There is a great opportunity at the end of your first year to check out the projects via the Keystone Symposium, which we host every April. You can go as a guest, listen to as many projects, presentations as you want to, ask questions, and it's just a great way as a first year and second year, even third year student to get a sense of the many projects that are taking place at KHC. We had a great question about study abroad. Have any of you here studied abroad, or do you have peers who have studied abroad and can speak to its feasibility with Kilachand?
I can kind of hop on this. I have not studied abroad yet, but I just submitted my application to study abroad this spring. So I would say that, oh, and this is Sydney speaking, by the way, apologies for that. I would say that study abroad is definitely possible within Kilachand, especially as Megan mentioned in the chat, in your second or third year, there's a lot of flexibility in our curriculum during those years. So personally, since I'm studying abroad this spring, there's some junior level requirements, a 401 seminar and a 451 Keystone preparation. And I'm able to take both of those this fall, so I don't need to take any Kilachand classes this spring. And as well, as far as study abroad goes, it's also really great to get a lot of your other requirements a lot of times. Specifically for me as a poli-sci major, I'm completing a international relations internship program in France. So I'll actually get to get 3 of my poli-sci classes out of the way while I'm abroad in France, which basically helps me finish the major, which is really great. So I would say that study abroad is definitely possible. It does take some pre-planning. If you know you want to study abroad, I would definitely be thinking about it early. I knew I came into BU knowing I wanted to study abroad, but didn't really plan it out until kind of starting this year, end of sophomore year, thinking about when I wanted to go, where I wanted to go, that sort of thing. But I would definitely just keep it in the back of your mind and chat with some advisors about what your options look like for your specific major. But there's a lot of flexibility there and a lot of people excited to help you on your way.
I definitely don't want to monopolize the conversation, but I've studied abroad twice, once in Dublin, Ireland, and once in Cape Town, South Africa. So I can speak to both of those. I went to Dublin the summer before beginning my sophomore year, so in between that time period, which was great. As you can see from my name, Liam Fitzpatrick, I'm very familiar with Irish culture. On my book right now, on my shelf right now, is a book called Gaeilge, all about the Irish language and Irish language revivalism, which was a super great experience, and it's what motivated me to go again. One of the things I will say about BU study abroad programs is we're one of the most expansive catalogs of study abroad programs in the country. When it comes to that experience in Dublin, for example, it was officially facilitated by BU, but I had friends who came from Villanova, from Syracuse, from the University of Virginia, from all over. Then I went to Cape Town, South Africa, and similar things. I had friends from BU, but also friends from Washington University in St. Louis and Denison and a whole host of different universities. So one thing I will say is if you take your time and plan it out correctly, studying abroad can be an invaluable addition to your experience. I credit it as the reason I have the internship that I have right now. A lot of what I'm doing is workforce development and strategy, specifically on a national and international scale. A lot of the things that I did volunteer-wise while I was in Dublin, Ireland, and while I was in Cape Town, South Africa, had to do with professional development and upward mobility. So one thing I will say is all these opportunities, they tend to link up one to another. So grab any opportunity you have and take a hold of it. Studying abroad is great. Again, if you have any questions, you can absolutely email me. I'll put my email in the chat so that way you guys have it. If you have any questions, you can absolutely reach out to me. It might take me a couple of days, but I promise I'll get back to you.
Darren speaking. Thank you. That's really helpful. I will underscore that it's helpful to keep your advisors in the know of your plans to study abroad. That way we can help to tell you which Kilachand courses are offered in which specific semesters. For example, some are only offered in spring, some are only offered in fall. And that can help you plan in case you need to double up one semester or bump a course another semester down the line. And you'll have multiple advisors, one in Kilachand, and then an advisor in your major. They may be a staff advisor or a faculty advisor. You might also have a minor advisor and a pre-med advisor. So there's plenty of people to keep informed of your plans. But there's lots of opportunity to meet those people, especially before your course registration. So we definitely encourage you to be in touch with advisors as soon as you can. And great related question, when do KHC students meet their advisors? You should hear from your advisors. Our plan is next week. If not, within the next week or two, you'll get an email from your assigned advisor in Kilachand. Eventually, you'll also see their name as Kilachand advisor in your MyBU portal. It will have their email address as well, so you can reach out by email whenever you need to, and the advisor will get back to you, and definitely look forward to meeting you either at orientations or during our weeks of welcome when the school year starts. So thanks for your patience there. Any questions you have in the meantime, you can send to honors@bu.edu. We're all checking those, so we'll get back to you with answers to your questions as soon as we can. We're towards the end of our time here, but I think there's one more important question that our panelists actually suggested, which is, what is your best Kilachand memory? And I think that's kind of a fun one to wrap up on. So if anyone here has a Kilachand memory that's specific to our community that you can share with us, please do.
I can go first. This is Prerna speaking. This is a recent memory, but at the end of the semester, last semester, we had like a Kilachand tailgate before the annual Kilachand Red Sox game, which is an event that K-Lab actually holds every year, and we take about like 80 students to a Red Sox game in Fenway Park. And the tailgate was just 2 hours of fun. Classes had just ended. It was the last day of classes. And there was like a huge Jenga set, which with like mega blocks. And like our entire friend group was just out there like having fun. And there was free food and free ice cream. And it was just a really great way to wrap up the semester. So that's a memory I think back on fondly.
One of my favorite memories is actually right in the first couple weeks of school, freshman year. It was the Kilachand Welcome Back Barbecue. It happens every year. And it's this great time. It's usually warm weather. Sometimes we're outside and there's a lot of great food outdoors, and most of the Kilachand community is there. So my freshman year, it was a lot of the place I met a lot of my friends today, and a really great time to meet really the entire Kilachand freshman student body all at once, which is really amazing. And then as a sophomore and looking forward to this year as a junior, it's one of the first times I see all my Kilachand friends again at the start of the year. It's a really great way to meet everybody and see everybody again. Also, it's right after when you meet your Kilachand peer mentors. So as freshmen, you'll come in, you'll have a peer mentor who will be an upperclassman, who'll kind of give you advice your first year. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to them, that sort of thing. And so you'll meet them and the rest of your peer mentee group, and you all head to the barbecue together. So it's really just a great time to make new friends and connect with some old friends as an upperclassman, and one of the best parts of the semester.
Karen here. Okay, thank you so much. I was just typing one answer to a question, which is, will we have KHC meet and greets for orientation sessions in August? And yes, we will. We are just going to announce them a little bit later in the summer because we need to coordinate with the orientation team for general BU orientation. And their daily schedule is not quite set yet for those sessions. But once it is, we'll figure out a time where all Kilachand students can get together, and we'll let you know by email and on our website. So keep an eye out on your email for that. We definitely will look forward to seeing you then. Any other questions? I think we're getting close to 7 p.m. Boston time, so we'll start to wrap up. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to our current students for sharing all your comments. Again, if you want to reach out to anyone, we can put the Kilachand ambassadors and Kilachand K-Lab links in the chat here. I'll do that. Great, and everyone adding emails too. So you can find profiles not just of current students who are here today, but others who may be great resources for you as well. You'll also be assigned a Kilachand peer mentor. This is a student sophomore through senior who can be a great resource for you as you come into KHC and BU. You'll hear from them later in the summer. Typically, they may be in your same major area or at least your same school or college, so that can be helpful to get some extra advice that way too. So thank you everyone so much for your time. We really look forward to meeting you soon, and please be in touch with any questions that you have going forward. Thanks all. Thank you to our panel. Appreciate everything that you've shared tonight.